Welcome everyone to race number 2 of week 4, the WEC Experience Open Setup Sprint Race at Fuji Speedway. Berland is a total newcomer to this track, and aside from a handful of test laps earlier in the week, this will prove to be his biggest challenge yet. Despite putting in a personal best lap time of 1:43.7, this proved to be a whopping 1.7 seconds off Berenice, who qualified in pole position. We've been placed in split 8 out of 20 total, meaning the caliber of the competition this round will be fierce. We'll be starting way back down the order in 16th place. Finishing anywhere inside the top 10 today will be classed as a win in his eyes, I'm sure. Fuji is a technical track. Aside from the start-finish straight, there are several corners in sector 2 and 3 that reward patience and positioning over raw speed. The temperature today at the foot of the picturesque Mount Fuji is in the low 20s, and the weather forecast promises clear skies for the duration. For this race, it looks like he's chosen the silver and red liveried AMG. With that, there's nothing left to do other than get this race underway. The green flag drops and we're off. There is smoke and debris as the field exits turn 2. I think that was the McLaren of the Polish driver, Mike. It was difficult to see from this angle. Let's go to a replay of that incident from turn 2 to see what happened. Now on board with Louis Philpott, who had a front row seat. It looks like Mike cut right across the nose of Kolodicic in the BMW, who in turn rebounded off Magro's Lexus. The end result was both getting spun out onto the grass, which means our 2nd and 4th place are out of the running on lap 1. Diogo Calleiros in the Shell Lexus has been breathing down the neck of Berland for most of lap 1. He started in 20th on the grid and has managed to muscle his way up to 13th. He sets up way out left heading into T1. Is he going to try and move on Berland? Whoa, he took a chunk out of the back of Berland's car there and forced him out wide to take another place. Calleiros now up into P12, Berland down into 13th. Of Panasonic onto the start-finish straight. Calleiros has run out wide. This might hurt his acceleration as he and Berland go flat out towards the start of lap 3. Berland looks to be gaining on him. The slipstream giving the AMG that little bit of extra top speed over the Lexus. These GT3s hit speeds of over 160 miles per hour here at Fuji on the straight. Berland makes it to the apex first. Qwen3 cuts inside and takes the tighter line. It's a drag race down to Coca-Cola. Qwen3 is a nose in front, but Berland will have the inside line going into turn 3. Who is going to blink first? The Lexus pulls ahead, but he's shot outside track limits there. That's really going to compromise his line going into 100R. Berland has taken the tight inside line in the hopes that he can get a better exit out of the hairpin. Has Qwen3 carried enough speed through the bend to keep his position? This battle is really hurting them both here. We can see from Millar's perspective that he's starting to pull quite far ahead now. Let's jump ahead to the front of the field. Now, Felipe Magro, who narrowly escaped the carnage in the opening corners, is currently in P2 and driving well. He had a brief stint in the lead last lap, but Veronese was able to muscle his way back in front. No! Oh, what a shame! The back end of the car has come around and he wasn't able to catch it. How he didn't hit anyone else is a miracle. His hopes of a podium now in tatters as the rest of the field passes. Let's see where he rejoins. That looks to be Gorisiak. He's slotted behind, down to 18th position. What a shame! Philpott, who inherited P2, has got Bruno Audi's Lamborghini hot on his heels. And look at that! Audi has taken both himself and Philpott out going into Dunlop. This is going to cause a commotion. What on earth was that rejoin from Audi? Costa's BMW has been forced onto the grass and Quaver in the Porsche suddenly got a face full of hurricane. He will not be pleased with that display from Audi. Well, I have to say that has really shuffled the driving order round at the end of this lap. This could mean Berland can climb a few places as things settle back down. No sooner have I said that, Philpott gets forced way out wide by Millar coming out of Panasonic. This is going to allow both Qwen3 and Berland through. Berland will take P10 from Philpott. Is his goal of a top 10 finish going to become a reality? He looks to be carrying good momentum here. Are we set for another attempt at a pass on the Lexus at the end of the straight? Oh, wait! Philpott isn't going to roll over and give up. He's fighting back. The BMW is much later on the brakes. Just like that, the battle for P10 is back on. And with Philpott's qualifying performance, will Berland be able to keep up? The three of them are getting bunched up behind Miller in the Corvette. Philpott is setting up for the hairpin as far left as he can possibly get. Qwen3 has left the door wide open for him as well. Thank you very much, says Philpott, as he breezes past to reclaim ninth. Great driving by the BMW. Berland might be able to make a move on the Lexus here heading into Dunlop corner. If he can maintain a gap like this through sector 3, there could be a chance to get clear of Qwen3 on the straight. This is turning into quite a three-way tussle for that 10th position. All of them taking different lines into T13. Berland is going to try and park his Mercedes right on the back bumper of that Lexus. entering Net's corner a lap later in much the same position. Will this be the one he can make it stick? There's been contact! Berland has pushed past into 10th Qwen3, flashing his lights in protest. Was the AMG far enough alongside to be given room, or did Berland put his car in a gap that didn't exist? The rules state, if a trailing car is significantly alongside before the corner, the defending driver must leave space. The Mercedes front wheel was in line with the Lexus's rear wheel during the initial contact. From Philpott's perspective, it doesn't appear any clearer. Who should have given way to who, you decide. That looks to be a Mustang rejoining the track right onto the racing line in front of Berland. What happened? Aspen has been holding off Audi's Lamborghini to keep his third spot on the podium. Audi has cut inside at T1, but Aspen has the run on him heading into Coca-Cola. They go in side by side. There's a coming together of both cars, and Aspen loses out. Berland senses an opportunity here to take 9th place off Aspen, but he's got to contend with another faster driver again. There's another casualty at Dunlop. Qwen3 gets rear-ended by Bally's BMW, turning him round to face the wrong way on the track. That spells the end of his chances to regain a position inside the top 10 today, dear oh dear. Meanwhile, what we are seeing now is the AMG of Berland doing its very best to stay glued to the back of the Ford. The Mustang is the slightly quicker car in a straight line, but with only 3/10 between them, Berland could be in with a shot here of passing before the end of the straight. Both cars get a good exit out of Panasonic. Throttle's wide open now and they fire through the gears. Berland is taking full advantage of the tow from Aspen, gaining bit by bit. When is he going to pick his moment to strike, and will Aspen try to stop him? He's moving towards the pit wall to make the pass. It looks like Aspen is trying to squeeze him and keep him pinned out wide. The AMG is nearly clear, but the longer Aspen can hold him in the middle of the track, the more it's going to compromise Berland in the braking zone for turn 1. Aspen disengages to the racing line. Can Berland get to the apex first, and more importantly, can he make it stick going out the other side? I can't believe it! It's another drag race to Coca-Cola. They've both been here before with different opponents. Oh! Aspen cuts inside and leaves Berland in his dust. What a great move from Aspen there. He really left Berland guessing until it was too late. Berland now trailing 3/10, no 4/10 in fact, going into the hairpin. We find ourselves at the end of lap 6, and once again in the all too familiar position coming out of Panasonic. Berland has managed to claw back 2/10 through sector 3 and is primed to try another pass on the straight heading into lap 7. He's going to the pit wall again. Let's hop on board with Philpott to follow as events unfold. Berland makes a shallow entry into the corner. Will he stop in time? Yes, yes, this time he keeps the position. What has Aspen got in his bag of tricks this time? He's too far back to make a move into Coca-Cola. Looking for the limit. Whoa, look at the back end. It's stepped out. He's a passenger now. Berland will be counting his lucky stars that Aspen isn't filling his rear view camera anymore. Starting lap 8, Berland has a long way to go to be within striking distance of P8. Miller has been focused only on the cars ahead, and the gap between him and Berland sits at just over a second. Let's go on board with the Corvette to see what's happening further up the field between Philpott and Qwen3. The BMW has gone defensive and held off the Porsche, both getting on the power early. A little too early for Qwen3. The back end steps out. That's going to cost him a bunch of speed down the hill, and Miller has capitalised on his mistake. Qwen3 down to 8th and Miller up to 7th. We're on the penultimate lap. Now, Berland is closing the gap between himself and Qwen3. Is there a possibility of one more place before the checkered flag? Qwen3 leaves the braking as late as he can. He's struggling to get it stopped in time. He's gone really deep. Berland hasn't, though. He's going to jump in the gap. That's been left. Qwen3 slams the door shut. Not on your life, mate, he's saying to Berland. Berland is within a second of Miller now, and 3/10 behind Qwen3 as they approach Sector 3. The Porsche is the strongest through this sector. What will he do? Oh, well, I didn't have that on my bingo card. Wow, Dunlop corner claims another casualty. Miller gets spun by Qwen3 without even a hint of slowing down. The battle-scarred nose of Berland's Mercedes is filling Qwen3's entire rear-view camera, leaving Panasonic. Qwen3 takes the defensive inside line. He's not going to give up P7 without a hell of a fight. Mark my words! The clash of the German Titans is in full swing. The AMG manages to clear the nose of the Porsche as we get to the end of the straight. Berland swings to his left, but Qwen3 dives to the inside. He's not going to take this lying down. Qwen3 seizes the position back as they head into Coca-Cola for the final time. Will he be able to pull a gap between them round 100R? Time is running out for Berland. What's his plan going to be for Sector 3? He shows his nose in Qwen3's side mirrors, attempting to distract him, but Qwen3 isn't taking the bait. It looks like Qwen3 has done enough this time. The gap more pronounced than it was on the last lap when Berlin was able to make a pass on the straight. And as the checkered flag waves, that's all she wrote. Qwen3 holds on to P7 and Berlin brings it home in P8, a result that I'm sure he won't be disappointed with considering the strength of the field today here in Japan. Looking over the classified results, Alexis Thomas gained an incredible 10 spots after starting P11 on the grid to take the top step. Bruno Audi, the controversial Lamborghini driver, held on to second place, and rounding out the podium was one-time leader Alberto Veronese. Berlin was the only novice from the three that started the race who managed to finish inside the top 10. Well, that's it from us here at Fuji. What a race, seriously. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. We'll be back next week, wherever the calendar takes us. But for the time being, take care of yourselves and we'll see you then. Bye for now.